Thank you. That's awesome. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. All right. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for showing up so early. I appreciate it. I know it's tough to get out of bed, especially on a rainy day. But that's why I moved out to California from New York, is to wake up with the sun shining, the birds chirping, and the rainbows in the background. I haven't had that today, but it'll get there. So what you're here for today is digital marketing with LinkedIn. And before we jump into that, I want to say a couple things about our sponsor here, Seacrest. They're sponsoring the event based in Pismo Beach, beautiful oceanfront hotel, so I thank them for sponsoring. The other thing is I want to ask you all, how many of you just set up your LinkedIn profile within the last year or so? You got a couple hands. Okay, who's been active on LinkedIn for at least a year? Okay, how about 2 years? Keep your hands raised. 2 years? 5 years? 10 years? Okay, we got a couple. Excellent. So 10 years ago, like some of you that raised your hands, I set up my LinkedIn account. I went in, and back then it didn't have as much as it has today. I set up my profile picture, I set up my summary, my experiences. Then maybe 2 or 3 months I didn't touch it. Then a year went by, I didn't touch it. Then there was this prospect I was going after, and we were selling e-commerce websites, and he was a big thought leader in the weightlifting space, which is what I was into as a customer of his. And I remember going to buy products at his site. I said, man, this is a rough experience. I think I could do better. How do I get a hold of this guy? So I look for his email address. I go on his website, couldn't find it. Do a Google search, couldn't find it. LinkedIn. So I dust off my LinkedIn account. I sign in, and sure enough, I put in his name, and he popped up. I said, all right, cool. I sent him a LinkedIn message. And what do you know? Within a couple days, LinkedIn messaged me back, said, yeah, I'm interested. Here's my email. Connect with me. I said, okay. So I email him, give him more information. Maybe 2 or 3 months later, we closed one of the largest deals of my company's history, all from that LinkedIn communication. And that was 7 or 8 years ago. So now LinkedIn's come a longer way. We have hundreds of millions of users. And today I want to show you how you could do some of that, and really how you can get involved, more active in LinkedIn, because it is the network that most aren't focused on, but there's a lot of opportunity. So today, really the goal is I want to show you how to attract people to your LinkedIn profile, how you can connect with them one-on-one, and then how you could also use it for recruiting, because LinkedIn is much more than just finding a job or generating leads. You could also recruit talent. For those that are growing businesses and you're looking to recruit people, LinkedIn's a great place to do it, especially if you're trying to recruit them from other businesses. You can go in, you can find what they're doing, maybe where they're underappreciated. And I've had a lot of success hiring on LinkedIn. So we're going to show you a little bit on how to do that. Before I jump into that, I want to tell you a little bit about Empath and what we do. Our background is in brand experience, and we've worked with some really amazing clients. This one was an ad for Microsoft, a creative ad we did for them. And part of what we do, it's about creating the messaging for a company, sending that messaging out, and then connecting with our clients' customers. We've done that for companies like First Republic Bank here. We've done annual reports. We've worked with guests doing event marketing and event brochures. And then you heard about The Haven. I'm happy to announce we just did an amazing design for them. And that's jumping ahead on me here. So the Haven, what we did is we set up their brand identity. If you go back there, like Emerson said, recovery addiction, and we created their logo. We also created their stationery system. So if you look at keeps jumping ahead. But if you look at their pocket folder, you look at some of their layout of their stationery, their envelope, their business cards, we've designed all that. So we've worked with hundreds and hundreds of businesses, many in the consumable goods space, many in the healthcare space. And today we're going to just show you how to get involved with LinkedIn as one marketing arm. So all these clients we do different things for, but today we're talking about LinkedIn and how that could help you expand your business. So we're going to go today, the session agenda is first introduction. We're going to go over what LinkedIn is. I'm going to show you strategy on how to use LinkedIn. I'm going to show you how to execute. I'm going to go over some other things that are going to get you better results with LinkedIn. So for those of you that need it, we have the Wi-Fi access. If you already have that logged in, feel free to bring up your phones, your computers. You can get involved with that. Ask questions. If you want to raise your hand, I'm happy to answer questions as we go through. And then I'm going to send a recap email to everybody with this recording, with the worksheets, and with a whole bunch of great bonuses. So that way, if you have to leave early, or if I'm moving too quickly, you could always hear my voice in this video and watch it from your own home office or at your office, home, wherever you'd like. So let's get started with the introduction on LinkedIn. I want to introduce you to Ollie. So I was thinking of a way to really break this down. I'm like, what's a great way to show marketing and how LinkedIn integrates with that? And I think of marketing almost like Ollie here, the octopus, is you have all these different arms, these different tentacles with marketing. You have everything from cold calling, which could be cold emails, could be dropping in on somebody, could be picking up a phone. You have events, social media, referrals. You have search, messaging. All of these different items are channels where you're connecting with others, where you're getting your word out, where you're developing relationships. And if we take and drill down one section, let's just say social media, and we drill down into that area, we have more tentacles, more arms that go out. We have Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. Who's on Snapchat? Not many. Okay. We got Snapchat, up and coming platform. Has anybody heard of TikTok? We have a few? Okay, so TikTok's short format video. That's a whole nother platform. It's a whole nother conversation. Point is that there's all these different ways of bringing people in and connecting with them. And even within something like LinkedIn is we have multiple different arms of that. So LinkedIn by itself is a powerful platform, but it has all these individual components that make it what it really is. And that's everything from connecting with others, from posting, goes into articles that you could write. It's getting profile views, people coming to your page, almost like a website. You have recommendations, endorsements, you can send messages, you have InMail. So LinkedIn by itself is like this one big channel where you could distribute content, you could receive content, you can engage. Most importantly, is you could develop relationships to make sales, to hire amazing talent, even raise money, because there's a lot of investment capital bankers on there. Does anyone know why an octopus has 8 arms? Close, very close. It helps them swim, but the more important part, it helps them catch more food. So the reason why I use that octopus is marketing is like that. It's about how can we catch more leads, how we connect with more people. So let's talk a little bit about LinkedIn. Again, one arm of the whole marketing infrastructure. And what is LinkedIn versus some of the other social networks? So you think of LinkedIn, you think of Facebook, you think of Instagram. How many are using Instagram today? All right, and then how about Facebook? Keep your hands raised if you're on Facebook. Okay. The difference between LinkedIn and Facebook and Instagram is LinkedIn is purely professional. So I think you're not going to see this on LinkedIn, at least not yet. Point with LinkedIn is people are on there to do business. They're on there to connect with business owners. They're on there to hire people, recruit people. They're on there to develop relationships in a professional format. Now, there's a time and place for Instagram and Facebook. They're more popular social networks. They get more engagement. But with LinkedIn, we don't have the cat memes. We don't have too many baby pictures. It's really about posting business content. It's about connecting professionally with others. And because of that, you don't want to post pictures of you at a party. You don't want to have unprofessional content. It's a very polished, professional platform. So keep your cat memes, and we're not going to post those on LinkedIn. That's the first tip of the day. Unless you're animal shelter, maybe you're veterinarian, maybe that works. We could probably tie it in, but very small percentage of people need that. So relationships and content marketing go hand in hand. And what we're going to talk about today with LinkedIn is how you can develop relationships using content. And more importantly, when you think of marketing, it's really about developing relationships, because all of those arms, all of those tentacles that are reaching out, it's trying to connect with people on a one-to-one basis. It's trying to provide value to them. It's trying to create a relationship to where you could help them or they could help you. And that's why I think LinkedIn is so powerful. It's because you can go one-on-one with somebody. You can open up a conversation with them, know who they are, see their background and experience. With the Facebooks, the Instagrams, you have avatars, you have these screens they hide behind. You're only seeing a very small glimpse of their lives, and sometimes those are artificial. So I remember one of the key stories for me for LinkedIn was 7 or 8 years ago. I was working at a company, and I was introduced to somebody. I only met him for 2 days. He was a consultant, came in, helped us, and then left. But I remember he asked me to connect on LinkedIn. I said, okay, sure. So we connected, and maybe we caught up a few years later, but we never really developed a relationship from that. I started posting on LinkedIn maybe a year and a half ago, and he saw one of my posts. He called me up and goes, Lou, it's been a while. Why don't we connect and chat and see what's going on? I saw one of your posts on LinkedIn. I said, okay. We got coffee, we talked, and we learned that we had similar interests and similar paths. And now this person, Michael Dunny, is my partner at Empath. We connected, we developed a business together, and we've been working on it for the last few years. And that was all from LinkedIn, again, because the content's going out, because I'm connecting. And you can do the same thing. It's about putting a little bit of time in to get a big return. So think about LinkedIn as a platform to develop relationships. It's one-to-one, and we're going to go over today is how to really scale that out so you can get more than one-to-one. You can do it faster with greater effectiveness. So we talked a little bit about why LinkedIn. It's developing a network, it's generating leads, it's closing sales, recruiting amazing talent. You can find investors, and if you're looking for a new job, you can get hired. There's a lot of opportunities, a lot of job postings on LinkedIn now. The other big reason for LinkedIn is its low-cost attention. So if everyone hears about Facebook and Instagram, you hear about all these platforms that are gaining just tremendous amount of popularity, where LinkedIn is kind of the side platter. It's not really getting a lot of attention. The reason for that is because it's not as maybe fun as Facebook or Instagram. You don't have as many of those cat memes that you're laughing at. It's not as entertaining. But because it's low-cost attention, it means you have greater potential to get in there and connect with others at a lower rate. And most of the stuff we're going to go over today, it's not going to charge you on a pay-per-click, like a Facebook or pay-per-impression. It's stuff that you could do yourself or you could hire out and develop on a very low-cost manner. So here's some stats. 92% of businesses say LinkedIn is part of their digital marketing mix. So you can see on the bottom there you have Instagram and YouTube at a smaller percentage, and then it goes up with Twitter and Facebook. But 92% of businesses are using it. And then 74% of B2B buyers use LinkedIn to research purchasing decisions. So what does that mean? Well, it means they're going on, if you give them a business card, you give them your name, they're going to look on your LinkedIn profile before they do business with you. Or what they're doing is they're searching for your name on Google, and then you're popping up on the search results. Your LinkedIn profile is. And people are going to see who you are, what you've done, are you credible? So this is a great way to polish your profile so when people look at you, they know who they're dealing with, and they know they're dealing with someone that knows what they're doing. So let's move into strategy. As we said, LinkedIn is one arm. That's one channel we're going to discuss today. There's many other channels that you could follow up and connect with. What I want you to do is you can write down, if you have paper, is what do you want to achieve using LinkedIn? You can write that down. What are you trying to achieve using LinkedIn? Because this is going to drive everything else we talk about today. Is you have to have a goal in mind. And a goal could be to generate leads. It could be to recruit talent. It could be to raise capital. It could be to, if you want to have vanity metrics, grow your network and have 10,000 connections. The point is, what do you want to achieve? Once you have that figured out, and let's say it's generating leads so you can generate more business. How many people wrote that down? They want to generate leads. Okay, so we got a good percentage. LinkedIn is a great way to do that, and we're going to go over how to do that in a moment. So once you have what you want to do, then you need to think about, well, who do I want to do it with? So if I want to generate leads, who am I generating leads from? What kind of person is it? And think in titles, because LinkedIn Professional Network, people are listing their titles on there. Title would be Chief Marketing Officer, could be Human Resources Director, could be Founder, could be CEO, could be Board Member. So think in titles. Write down what are the titles of the people you want to connect with, because we're going to show you how to search for them. And if you're in this geographical area, we're going to show you how to filter down into certain areas. If you're doing national, you get even more. If you're doing global, you got 600 million people you could connect with. And why the audience is important, this is really important because there's so many people on LinkedIn. One of the clients I was working with, been working with her for the last 6 months, we're trying to connect her with different audiences. At first, she was going after designers because she does copywriting and she's got an amazing pedigree of copywriting experience. The designers weren't connecting back. It wasn't successful. Okay, that didn't work. Then we went after chief marketing officers. Okay, well, they hire copywriters. Maybe we can get in there. Again, that didn't work out. It took until we figured out her audience was really high-level creative directors. The reason we figured that out is that she had somebody in her network she knew that was doing something similar to her, and she connected with everybody from his audience. So she siphoned off some of the work he's done to connect with others that she would most likely be able to do business with. So it took us to figure out her audience, to trial and error, to find what would really work for her. And same thing might happen with you, is if you go after CMOs, maybe that's a too high level position, maybe you need to go after marketing directors. If you're going after HR or chief human resource directors, again, maybe you have to drop down. So keep in mind, who is your audience? And then another point here is, what value can you provide? So what's cool about LinkedIn, unlike many other social networks, is that people are on there to do business, but they're also on there to learn about business. So what value can you provide to business owners? Now, for instance, something I do with everybody is the value I provide is like, hey, thanks for connecting. If I could introduce you to anybody in my 30,000 plus network, let me know. Oh, wow, that's cool. That's a nice value. Other people send you a little white paper or primer on their business and some tips on how you can improve yours. So think about, what value can you provide? Maybe it's a checklist, maybe it's a PDF book, maybe it's a link to an article, maybe it's an introduction to somebody. That's going to get you in the door. That's going to create a deeper connection and then further your relationship. This is the part many miss. It's how will you follow up? So let's talk a little bit about follow-up. LinkedIn is an amazing platform, but of all the tens of thousands of connections I have, I don't normally do deals with every single one, right? It's not going to happen. How many people are married in the room? Okay. How many got married on your first date? Oh, good, okay. Hoping nobody would say that. So you'd have to be really slick for that, right? So many of us, none of us here got married on the first date, right? And same thing when you're looking at LinkedIn, is when you create a connection with somebody, when you reach out and you message them, it's unlikely you're going to make the sale on that first message. So follow-up is key. And with follow-up, I'm talking about sending them a message on LinkedIn. I'm talking about sending them an email, phone call. You can do other sort of networking with them. But it's about constant follow-ups, about creating that strategy where you're constantly reaching out and connecting, you're posting content. And how I usually advise clients is like, hey, let's just not use LinkedIn. Let's use LinkedIn as the means to get into the door. And then let's use other communication channels to continue that relationship and to continue developing. So don't just think everything's on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is just one way to get to know who they are, to connect with them, to build that rapport, get their email address, their phone number, and then from there, the sky's the limit. Now you can start sending them emails. You can get out there. You can give them a call. You can start sending them in-mail messages. So develop your follow-up structure. All right, so let's get into the nuts and bolts of LinkedIn. I want to go down. Once you have that strategy set up, think more of that. Again, I'm going to send you this after so you can go through it in more depth. But before, you really got to figure out who your audience is, what value you're going to be providing, what it is, who you want to connect with before we get into getting results from it. So this is what I do in these presentations is I go through this sequence. We're going to go through, first thing is downloading your data on LinkedIn. So for those of you that have had your profile for a while, what I recommend doing is going in LinkedIn, and you can see up here into this privacy section, you could actually download all of your LinkedIn data. Now, you don't have to do this now, but before you start making changes, you want to download everything, create a snapshot of where you are. That way, when you change, you could always restore, and you have everything archived. The importance for this, too, is kind of set that benchmark for how many connections you have. So when you grow, you can say, oh, I started at 500, now I'm at 20,000. So the goal here is download your data, connect that data into your computer, and you'll have everything from your articles, your messages, your connections. It's a tremendous amount of information that you get stored. And they used to give you email addresses for everybody, too. They don't do that anymore, I think, because it was too heavily marketed. But make sure you're downloading your data first. And then we're going to go into login and security. And again, you don't have to go through this now. I'm going to send you this presentation. You can do this at your office. Email addresses. This is a big one that many people don't realize. Is how many have been 3 or 4 different careers by now? Okay. How many more? More? Yeah. Okay. I've been more. Yeah. So what happened is every different career I'd go through, I'd enter my business email address from that company, and I forgot to remove it from LinkedIn. Then I heard a story. Somebody was on LinkedIn chat with me. He goes, hey, you wouldn't believe what just happened. I said, what happened? He goes, remember I had all those connections? I said, yeah, you had like 2,000, 3,000. He goes, well, now I have 0. I said, well, how to create a new profile? I said, why? He goes, well, my email address was for my business, and I was laid off. And my boss went in and reset the password because he owned my email address from the business, and he took over my account. I said, oh, no. He goes, yeah, and then I had no recourse, and I didn't want to hire a lawyer, so I just created a new profile. So be careful. Go in, check your email addresses. Make sure you don't have an old email address from an old office that you worked at, from an old place that you were doing business with, because somebody could go in, do a password reset, and take over your account. And we've been putting a lot of time and effort here. I don't want them to steal your account and steal all your connections, because this is a gold mine of information. The other thing you want to look into is phone numbers. This is used for password resetting or for security. I always make sure you have your latest phone number in there. You could also have it show up on your profile. So if you want others to be able to call you, it's good to have an updated phone number. Let's talk a little bit about privacy. So this is Kevin Smith, and he's got this amazing real estate business down in Orange County. And what you're looking at here is his profile, if you're all familiar with that. On the right-hand side, you have this people also viewed. People also viewed. Here's a challenge with that section, is many of these people in that list are his competitors. How many want to market their competitors alongside themselves? It doesn't make sense, right? So there's a way, LinkedIn gives you the option to turn that off, which I recommend doing. There's no reason to have that on there, because it's either going to be your competitors or people that are in business with you, and it doesn't help you because it's people clicking away from your profile. So what we want to do for that is there's this option called Viewers of this profile also viewed. So you can disable that, takes that off the side, and now you have everybody focused on your face, your experience, your background, and that's where we want them. The other update I recommend taking off is sharing your job changes, your profile updates. As you start going and updating your profile, changing your headline, updating your summary, I don't know if everybody wants to be notified of every change you made. It gets a little overwhelming. It's not providing a great amount of value. So I usually recommend taking that off and disabling it. I didn't know work anniversaries were really a thing. Does anybody celebrate those? We got a couple. OK, sorry. Maybe it is a thing for the one. All right, get it go. We'll get the balloons for you next time. So I recommend turn it off, but if you want to have a celebration for every work anniversaries, then by all means, more power to you. All right, so let's move into the profile section. We did some of the back-end updates. Now we're going to talk about the profile. Many of you already have profiles. I'm going to tell you how to supercharge them. I use these tactics to grow my network from about 800 connections to close to 30,000 now. And the way I did that is through having a polished profile, good copywriting, but more importantly is connecting one-on-one with people. And that's going to come at the end. But we have to set up what I like to call a mousetrap, right? If you think of a mousetrap, you get a good piece of cheese in there, get the little mouse in. Same thing with your profile is we want to create something that's polished, something that people look at, they see credibility, they see someone that knows what they're talking about, and more importantly, it's a real person. And there's been a lot of issues with social media where people are developing fake profiles and connecting with others to influence opinion. This happened actually in different third world countries where they just have everybody building up these profiles to create these bot networks. So we want to make sure ours are real, they're flushed out with detail, and they look polished. So let's go through the profile here. Is at the top, you have the background photo. So that's where you see Empath and the stationary system. That's all listed out there. Under that, you have the profile photo. Under that, you have your name and your headline. That's the managing partner, that's the headline. And then finally, under that, we have the summary. So I'm going to go through each one of these components. And each one, this is the most important part of your LinkedIn profile because that's the first thing people see. And that's what we call above the fold, right? So that's if you're looking on your computer. If you're on your cell phone, the fold's a little bit higher, which means people are going to see that before they scroll down. And science and tracking shows that most people look at a website like an F. So if you think of an F, you got the top part they go across and they go down to the middle part of the F, and then after that, they don't really scroll over to the right too much. Same thing with LinkedIn, as people are going from the left to right a couple times. Once they scroll down, they're really checked out. So background photo, again, I'm going to send you these templates after, but the background photo you want to make sure is this pixel dimension. That way you get full coverage. It's really polished, really good quality. It's 1,536 pixels by 417. I'll give you the template for that you could update and install on your profile. I wanted to show you, this is an example of, I like to call it not good. I put bad in there first, but I thought that was a little too harsh. So I'm saying not good. And I really like Tracy. She's really good at what she does. She's been featured on all these wonderful places, so she must know what she's talking about. But design is certainly not her skill set. She's got so much going on. I'm almost getting vertigo looking at it. You got these different colors, these different fonts, all these different logos. It's like, okay, yeah, you're a big person, you're a big star, that's great. But it's just too overwhelming, so not good. Don't want to do that. We want to keep it clean, keep it subtle, and this is a better example of a banner that's really clean. He's got a few things of what he does. He's got a couple logos to build credibility on there. That's better. And when you're looking at this, it doesn't necessarily have to be all about business. You could also put in something personal that reflects who you are as an individual. Everything but your cat. Unless you're a veterinarian, which I think that's one of your skill sets, right? Not yet? Okay, he's working on it. So this was for my client, Seamus and Associates, up in San Luis. I have 5 offices across California. That's a picture of Sacramento, the city, and then he's got his logo up top. I'm going to give you, this is a program called Pixlr, P-I-X-L-R. It's a free alternative to Photoshop. So if you don't want to buy Photoshop, although I recommend you do because I have stock in Adobe, so buy Photoshop. But if you don't want to, Pixlr is a good alternative. I'll give you a template where you can just open it, you drop your photo in. Make sure it's a good quality photo. I don't want you to drop in a small photo and then you do one of these and you try to stretch it out. That's what we call pixelation. It looks very bad. I went to design school many years ago, but I'm by no means a designer today. I just know that much. So I'll give you that template. And I'm really serious about this design. If you can't design it yourself, go on Fiverr. I'm going to send you the link to this, fiverr.com, F-I-V-E-R-R. Has anybody heard of Fiverr? Wow, awesome. Okay. So Fiverr is almost everything for $5 except for this. This one's $15. But what's cool about Fiverr is you get really low-cost updates made for almost anything. You could hire someone to do cold calling for you. You could hire somebody to send emails. You could hire someone to design your LinkedIn banner. So for 15 bucks, you give them what you want, they'll design it for you, and they'll give you a few options. I'll send you the link after. All right, let's jump into the profile photo. So this one is really simple. I don't know why people get so confused. Is your profile photo professional, no cats in there. You want a smile. You want either your chest up face. You want it to be professional looking, and you don't want a crazy background going on. If you're going to have a background, blur it out, or just have a clean, really clear background. The reason why it's important to have your face on there is if you're connecting with people locally, which I imagine many of you are, if you're going to meet somebody that you met on LinkedIn, and this happened to me, you got to know what they look like, right? You go into the coffee place, you're like, oh, who is this guy? It's like, one guy I went to meet, he had his photo on there, and it was like from 10 years ago. He had a full head of hair, and I was like, okay, I know what this guy looks like. But then he had shaved his head, and I'm looking, and I walked up to a few of the wrong people, and eventually I figured out this guy had changed his hairstyle and didn't update his LinkedIn photo. I gave him that tip. I don't think he was too appreciative, but I told him he's got to update his photo. So make sure you have an updated photo. You want to smile, professional. You can do a face shot, you can do chest up, but you certainly want to make sure it's up to date and get that smile in there. You know, we work a lot with neuroscientists and PhDs. We do a lot of studies on human behavior, and in our brains, when we're looking at people, even since we were babies, half of the back of our brain is made up of processing faces. And what it does is it goes to 2 parts of your brain. The first part is, do I recognize this person? And then the second part is, if you do, well, what emotions do I have tied to them? Are they friend or foe? So the human face is so important in marketing. That's why the most effective marketing campaigns today usually use people, because we associate with people. I mean, when you look on the walls of your house, how many people have pictures of their feet or their back? Your pictures of your face. Right? That's what we have on there, pictures of people's face. So get your face on it. I don't want to spend too much time on that. Let's talk about the headline. So we're going to have great pictures, great background photos. Talk about your headline here. So the headline is one of the greatest calls to action. So I like this guy's picture. He's a hiker, so he's got the background in there. I get it. And then he's got his headline in the red box here. This is an amazing, amazing call to action. He says, I'm hiring. So he's a recruiter. And he says, join G2 Crowd and disrupt how companies make B2B software decisions. Wow, that's powerful. So I know if I'm looking for a job and I know that company G2 Crowd, which is kind of like a Yelp for businesses, this is the guy I want to connect with. So think about your headline is, can you create a call to action out of it? Here's another example from a realtor. I love this one because it builds credibility. He tells you what he does. He's a luxury realtor. He's a top producing in Beverly Hills. And they're the #1 office in North America. I know this guy's legit. I know he's been doing it for a while. Another example, this is a banker. So this one builds wonderful credibility, top 10 investment banking firm in LA. That's legit. LA is a big city. Tells you a little bit of what she does, seller side, the buyer side. She does liquidity, capital raise. So here's a template I want you to use. Those are a couple examples, but to build your own template, just write this down. I help these people achieve this goal by providing this product or service. So think about if you're a realtor, I help first-time home buyers find amazing homes in SLO. Just keep it simple, right to the point. What are you doing? How are you helping? And what product or service are you offering to help them? You could also just keep it simple. Your CMO or your marketing director. Be what's natural to you and what kind of person you are. You don't want to do something just to follow direction. You want to do something that really comes from you and your personality. Because once you start meeting people, if things aren't aligned, it seems artificial. So let's talk about the next section is the summary. So after we got our background photo, we got our profile photo, we got our headline, and then we have our summary down below, again, above the fold. And the summary section it's got a lot of area to put content in. And this is a really tricky area because a lot of people go into specifics on what they do, on what they've accomplished, and all of those things are good. But the most effective people, they tell a story. They tell a story about their personal lives, and they interweave it with business because that creates a real authentic personality. I gave this example here. This is just an amazing summary written by a CMO of a company, and he talks about how he began flying Cessnas at a young age, at 14 years old, and how he became a licensed pilot, and then he went into wildlife firefighting. He's telling you a little bit about himself and how he got through college, and then he connects that with his company. He goes, what does all this mean for what I'm doing now? Well, a lot of those experiences I did in firefighting is very similar in business. I'm putting out fires in business too. So he makes the connection, tells the story. He shares a little bit about the company's vision and goals, how they're aligned with his. It's very hard to do, but if you could tell a story about what you've accomplished, what your company does, how you support them in that, people are going to read it, they're going to relate to it, and you're going to get many more connections and relationships built. So take some time to build out that summary. You might have to write it and rewrite it and rewrite it and keep tweaking it. The most effective summary I wrote, I constantly test mine. I'm always, if you do an A/B split test, you're comparing different versions. I've always been testing. The most effective one is when I told a personal story about myself, and then I connected it with business. When I just do all business and all the great things I've accomplished, it falls on deaf ears. So take your time to write your summary. I'll send this out after so you can review it. This is one of the best ones, and I've been through tens of thousands of them. It's one of the best ones I've read. So next up after that is the experience section. So we're scrolling down your profile. The experience section, I was working with a client, and he's been in business for maybe 30 years, and he had 15 levels of experience all the way back from when he was a server at a restaurant in high school. It's like, okay, I don't think we need that in here. Let's take some of those things out. Let's just focus on your last few positions that align with your new position. So if you have things that are unrelated, if you're a server when you're in high school or younger or in college, if they're not going to create connections with others, if they're not helping establish you as who you are now, I would take them out. It's just extra stuff you don't need. And what you want to do with your experience is you want to set it up so you have, on the left there, you see that logo in blue. When you go to search and add your experience, it'll allow you to choose a business there. Make sure that the business you choose has your logo on it. A lot of people, they just have that kind of brick building because there's no business associated. That logo is important because when we're looking at things, we're looking for color. We're looking for something that's different. So search for your business. If your business isn't listed on LinkedIn when you search for it, well, either go to your boss, or if you're the boss, make sure you set up a LinkedIn page for your company. Because just like everything we're doing for your personal profile, you could also do for your company profile. After that, you want to put your title in, and then you want to put your years active, your area, and then just like your summary that you wrote, you want to go into a little bit of story about what you do, what you've accomplished, and who you're helping. So take some time to go through, write that up. It doesn't have to be as long as this. But again, tell a little bit of a story. Just don't go into exactly your duties and responsibilities, but tell how you've shaped people. You always say this at Empath, is you have to get through people's emotions before you get into their minds. And what that means is when you connect with somebody, when you develop a relationship, when you share a story with them, you're connecting them on an emotional level. And then you're able to get in and you can do business. So that's a really key part of developing rapport on social media and just in general. Yeah, sorry, go ahead. Yeah, great question. So she said, what do you do if you have different roles? What's cool about LinkedIn is you could actually put in different roles down below each, and it'll show a little time lapse, like moving up. It'll show, hey, I started here, then I moved up, then I moved up. And that's a great transition, right? It's like, hey, I'm growing, I'm expanding with the company. That's great for you. It's great for the company, too. It shows, wow, they hire from within. So I would put all those in there, brief summary for each one, and maybe say why you moved up. It's like, hey, I came in at this position, and then I learned, and I evolved, and I worked hard, and I moved up to the next one, and I achieved my goals there, and then moved up to the next one. So that's a great transition to see, and LinkedIn's a good platform to put it in because they do account for that. Yeah.
And then what about if you had 5 jobs in the last 3 years?
That's a very good question. So 5 jobs in the last 3 years.
That's not me for anybody listening.
No, of course not. Of course not. No. You're a good friend, right? You're a good friend.
Really good friend.
Really good friend. So we all know when we're looking at resumes or we're looking at hiring, we look to see how long people were tenured at their previous careers. The challenge is when you look at someone's resume or their LinkedIn profile, if they've been bouncing around, if they've only been 6 months or a year at each place, what's going on? Is there something wrong? So what I tell clients and what I've advised is just be honest. Put in each place what happened there. If you're bouncing around a lot, that's really your only recourse because they're going to find out. If you don't list them all, they're going to find out anyway. So I just recommend putting a little summary, say, listen, I worked here for 6 months, I accomplished some stuff, but it wasn't a good fit. Our interests weren't aligned. I wouldn't align with their values, or there wasn't a connection, or there wasn't upward mobility. I just tell people to be honest, list that. If it was only a few months, don't list it, but 6 months to a year plus, be honest and just tell them why it didn't work out. So let's move into education. So this one is coming down to, again, college level. Let's not put high school and going through different elementary schools. I had another client who had his elementary school in there, then he has high school, he went to private school. I was like, wow, man, you've done a lot of school, that's great. Do you think a lot of people are going to connect with you on that? He goes, no, not really. I said, okay, let's take it off. So with your education, same thing with your business is you could type in what your school is, and it'll give you that little logo, so it gives you a splash of color. You type in your degree, your years that you spent earning it, and then a little summary of what you've done, some of the key attributes that you've achieved. That's it. Keep it short and sweet. I had one client who was actually a doctor in engineering, and now he's in software development. I said, list a little bit about how you went from doctorate, and spent all these years and all this money, why you went into software. Oh, good idea. So he listed that in there, and it explained how he went from learning engineering and working with his doctorate professor and found a love for software in some of his engineering projects he did. He's like, wow, this engineering is cool, but I want to get into software development. And he told that story and explained through the mentorship and tutelage of his mentor on how he made the switch. And he still has a PhD, which is cool. So skills and endorsement. Moving down again, let's go through skills and endorsement. This is a really underused section of LinkedIn. And what's interesting about this section is it should all align with your profile. So again, what are you trying to do? Who are you trying to connect with? Who's your audience? These things should be related to that. So if you're in marketing, one of your skills and endorsement should be marketing. If you're doing strategy, have that as strategy. If you're in sales, have sales there. So you can choose what shows up on your profile. Why that's important is that people could check mark skills that they endorse you for. So these are peer reviewed. It's like your own little mini Yelp page where people are going in and endorsing you for these different skill sets. A lot of people don't know this, is you can go in and choose your skills, but you could also choose which ones show up first. Now, I've done a lot of studies. I've done about 15 to 20,000, maybe more like 30,000 now, send requests for endorsements. And what I mean by that is I did a test to see through the act of reciprocity, which is a psychological sales tactic they use, is if you give something to somebody else, what's the likelihood that they're going to give back? 60%. So if you go out and you endorse 100 people, 60 of them will endorse you back.
So you're not asking them to endorse you, you're just automatically endorsing them so they can...
Exactly. That's exactly it. So go and endorse 10 people, click that little button that they have under their profile, and then 6 of them will endorse you back. That's what the stats show, doing tens of thousands of these. So that's the act of reciprocity. So give them something, they'll give back. And what you could do here is if you look at these little pins, these allow you to choose which 3 show up first. Now, reciprocity only goes so far. People aren't going to scroll down and usually endorse you for everything because we're all lazy, we got other things to do. They're just going to endorse you for the first 3. So you want to make sure those top skills are the ones that you want to get endorsed for. I always like to include one that has the maximum number. So if we go back, the maximum number you could have in endorsements right now is 99. So I put that one at the bottom to build some credibility. And then I have 2 that I'm developing. So those I want to get up to 99. And then I'll circle those out, and I'll put in 2 more that I want to work on. So that way I'm rotating. I'm constantly rotating and building up my endorsements. So why these are important, it's not only just people looking at them, it's also people searching for you. And these keywords come up when they search. So that's going to help people find you when you have greater endorsements. And you get more leads in, because LinkedIn also has a referral network now. Well, they'll send leads into your profile. So choose that, and then you could also, on the right hand, you see those little lines there. That's the drag and drop icon, where you could drag and drop ones up and down and delete. You could also add your own. For my family back east, we do rice pudding. We make Lucky Lou's gourmet rice pudding. It's my dad's business. I put rice pudding maker in there as a skill. And people endorse them for that. I was like, all right, cool. Nobody had that before, but I made it. So that's fun. So have some fun with it. It doesn't have to be all standard and slick. It could be something that's unique to you and something that's funny. If you're funny, then put something funny on there. It's okay. It's okay to be yourself. All right, so let's talk about accomplishments. Again, we're scrolling all the way down. If you remember that F we talked about, where people are looking up top first, and the middle section, and then as they scroll down, less and less. Well, this is one of the areas where they don't spend a lot of time on. This is where you can put in your honors and awards, your publications, any projects you're working on. If you have patents that you've had published, if you have different certifications you've earned, different projects you're working on, or if you've been published on TV, anything, you can put that in here, and that helps you a little bit with search, shows a little bit of credibility, but many people don't read down this far, so it's not getting as much visibility. Wouldn't spend too much time on it. And the last section there is interest. So interest, what's really neat about this section is you can have as many as you want, and it connects you in groups. So these are all the different groups you're a part of. I don't think this is a very effective area. I would recommend just putting in interests that are aligned with your audience, and that will allow you to create some commonality. But again, this is all the way at the bottom, so we're not getting a lot of visibility there. So when we look at this, the last part of your profile is your URL. So if you look at the top right there, it says Edit Public Profile and URL. And remember, I'll send you this after so you can update yours. If you click on that, it'll bring you to this page. And then this page here, again, on the top right, it says Edit URL. So that URL is when people type in to find you. You could personalize that so it's not just Louis Camassa 557692. It's just Louis Camassa. So if you have a unique name like me, I own that right now. If your name is John Smith or Billy Mitchell, there's a lot of Billy Mitchells out there. You might have to put a dash in, or you could be number one, right? So customize that. All these little details add up to your profile being polished. Steve Jobs once said is that all the details aren't just the details make the product. It's the same thing with your LinkedIn profile. All these details make who you are and give you that polished look. All right, any questions on that before I get into some more of the profiles? Yeah, go ahead.
Should we use the same strategy for the business page?
The business page, similar strategy. There's fewer options to fill out. You could put locations on there. You could put in a nice background image. That's something that you're going to want to customize to be a little more professional. You can still tell a story in it. Depends on your business. But that we'll have to have another seminar on how to set that up. But you could follow some of the same best practices.
To promote, we use the same.
The challenge with promotion is you can't really promote your business page without paying. So this is important, is with LinkedIn, your personal page is really your business page. So you're connecting with people, you're building up your network personally. It's not being funneled through your business. So that's why it's important whoever's doing it is tied into your business, because you don't want to, if somebody you're paying leaves you and you build up this whole network under their account, well, all those leads are gone. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but another question, just to write articles and things like this, could you do through the business page?
You can. It gets less visibility because they want you to promote. Just like Facebook, they want you to pay. But I recommend posting, cross-posting on there. You'll get more visibility if you post on your personal page, though. Yeah.
So you said on the profile for the LinkedIn address, I had Andrea /fine- the number. Can I just get rid of that?
Yeah, just get rid of all the numbers.
There
Yeah.
are 15 other Andrea Fines in California alone.
Well, you can put an underscore. Many of them probably didn't go to my seminar, so they don't know to do this. So you might be good to just put an underscore or a dash in there. Yeah, good question. So I got a few more minutes. Yep, go ahead.
Just a quick comment. I agree with you on anniversaries and the interest being low interest, but I've gotten contacted about doing business for someone because I wish them a happy anniversary, and then also with the groups, sometimes posting on groups, I've gotten the more you dig into it and take advantage of these tips, I have businesses and markets and countries I've never been to.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a global network. There's 600 million users. A good percentage of that are international. So if you're international based, there's, lots of people out there in different countries that you could connect with, and groups, there's certainly power to them, and interest too. All this adds up, right? So we want to focus on all of it. I got a few minutes left. We had, let's see, we got 5 minutes. So let's talk a little bit about articles and posts. I want to go through this quickly. The difference between articles and posts: articles are long format, doesn't get as much publicity. Posts, and these are some of my posts here, a lot of this is about telling stories, getting tens of thousands of views. You really want to keep it personal, but have a business theme to it. And if you look at the news feed, just like Facebook, you have a news feed, and most of it's business related, and it's business stories. You have the option to start a post, which is 1,300 characters or less, really short and sweet and to the point, or you could write an article. An article's long form, a lot of content in that. Here's an example of an article, and this went on for, I think I had maybe 15 or 1,600 words, so it went way over the size of an update or a post. This is another article or post that I made. This one got a lot of publicity because I put a little image in there. I was trying to explain complexity, right? So back 10 years ago, we had a remote, had 32 different buttons on it. And then somebody evolved it, Roku, and they brought it down to like 12 different buttons. And then, of course, Apple, the masters in product design, brought it down to 3. So I was like, man, and I explained the vision of that, and I got a whole bunch of views on it. So I'm explaining what we do by user interface design with visuals and telling the story. One of the most important parts here is search. So I want you to spend time on search. It's this little search bar up top. You search by title usually, or by company. So again, find out who your audience is. If it's chief marketing officer you need to connect with to make the sale, search for them. If it's the human resource director, search for them. The point is that once you search, you'll get results. I got 1.6 million on chief marketing officer. There's a lot there, right? Well, guess what? You could filter down. So see that all filters button on the top right, that link? You click that, and then boom, you have this entire dashboard of options, from locations, where are they at? Are they in your local market? Are they elsewhere? What industry are they in? Are you connected with them first, second, or third?
Do you need to be premium to do that?
No, this is all on the free profile. Now, if you look to the right, search with Sales Navigator. If you're like a really master of LinkedIn and you want to get to the next level, you could buy their Sales Navigator, and that'll give you even more search capabilities. Like you could search based upon their revenue, how many employees they have. So that's next level up. You don't need that to do what I did in the last year and a half. I just signed up with them a few months ago to get more detailed. But everything I'm going over today, you can use with their free account. So the most important part of this is the connection request. So if you look on the left there, there's a little connect button in blue that's kind of grayed out. Once you connect that, this pops up. Once you know who you want to connect with, click that button. You'll get in here. You're going to do add a note when you connect with them. And you're going to put in a simple message. Put their name in and personalize the message. This Will I was connecting with, he had an article mentioned in this magazine publication I follow. I said, hey, thanks for your mention there. I thought I'd reach out and connect. Just kept it simple. He approved it. After they approve it, a lot of people don't do this, send a thank you message. So once they approve your connection, once you've got them in your network, put in a thank you message. This one is another example of using Second Network. So I noticed somebody that was connected to Ryan Benson, and she was connected to him. So I said, I know this guy, and you know him. Let's connect together. And that works out really well. Here's a thank you message. So once you connect with somebody, thank them for connecting, and then add your value in there. Every message I send out, I said, thanks for connecting. Is there anybody in my network I can connect you with? I think I've sent this probably 10,000 times. I think I've had like 3 people actually ask me to connect with somebody out of all those messages I sent. So it's not like you're putting yourself into a situation where you have to do a lot of work, because most people aren't going to take you up on it. But a lot of people reply back and say thank you, probably 10 to 30% of people. And then I put a call to action. So I thank them, I give them value, I put a call to action. What's the next step? Well, go to my site, go to my LinkedIn page, go read my article. So here's the takeaway, guys, is the old Chinese proverb said, when's the best time to plant a tree? 20 years ago. Second best time? Today. So get started today. I hope I gave you some tips to get through this, get your LinkedIn set up. I'm going to send you out the bonuses, and also I got this really cool meme pack I'm going to send you. No cat memes in there. These are all inspirational business quotes. I got 99 of them. So you have 99 problems, but a meme's not one. So I'm going to send you all these. You can post those on LinkedIn, and then we have to do a raffle. Boom. Raffle time. Let's do it. All right. Thank you.
One big round of applause for Lou. Great job.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, wow.
A nice gift from the
Oh,
chamber. Thank
wonderful.
you so
Thank you. I
much.
appreciate that. Thank you.